So our vitamin work. I'm sure many of you have heard this terminology before. Vitamins. It's something that we are an extremely big believer in. A big credit to our entire coaching staff, Eric Thibault, and then our director of player development, Sefu Bernard. But it's something that is mandatory. We do this. We do vitamins probably 90% of practice days. For those who don't know what are vitamins, it's 20 minutes of intentional pre-practice skill or technique work. Right. So it's not like we're just opening the court up and saying, hey, guys, go get loose. Coaches will be out there to rebound. This is very intentional pre-practice work. Some days it's, shooting. Some days it's, hey, let's touch up your ball handling. Others days, like I put it in the bottom line, it presents an opportunity to teach unfamiliar actions that we may see in a game that week, whether it's a big pick and roll, some kind of cross screen action that we haven't guarded this year, but we block 20 minutes out before every single practice to where players expect to be on the floor, either going through a skill workout, a shooting workout, or we're teaching a new concept in that 20-minute block. So it's not something just thrown on them in the last minute. And like I said, the middle bullet right there, it's designed to mentally and physically kind of prep and frame each player for the theme of that practice. Like I mentioned in the last bullet right here, it presents an opportunity to teach unfamiliar actions that we may see in the game that week. I'm not sure how many of you guys followed the W. Me and Chris were talking about it before we let everyone in, but there are so many different personnel tendencies in the W. A lot of the games still played through the post, through the elbows. So you're seeing a different action almost every night, right? So I'm going to get into some of Connecticut stuff. They're forward, they're 4-5. Alyssa Thomas handles the ball a ton in pick and rolls. Our bigs, any big for that matter, is not used to navigating a ball screen. So if we're playing Connecticut on a Tuesday, Monday morning vitamin, I can guarantee you we are going through big pick and rolls and having our bigs, right, navigate screens. It's something that's very unorthodox, something very new to them. So we're sending that 20-minute block, all right, going through that stuff. And what we're doing before the vitamins is we're pulling the TV out on the court. We're showing them these clips. Hey, this is going to be you tomorrow night. You're going to be De'Erica Hamby, and you're going to have to guard a pick and roll. Okay, so we'll show these clips. Right? Just to make sure our bigs are familiar with, hey, we're about to get some work in that you're probably not used to doing and may not have to do the rest of the year, but this is what we're going to get into here. Here's the last big pick and roll, and it's funky. They said it's so low, but again, Asia Wilson, league MVP, not used to guarding that kind of stuff. It's just different. It's just different. There's another big pick and roll. So we are showing these clips on the court before our vitamin session to our bigs. Hey, this is the kind of stuff that you're going to see tonight or tomorrow night. And then as soon as we finish with our film session, we go right to the court. So again, two of our bigs right here, Emily Angsler right here, and then Aaliyah Edwards right here. And again, we've got our practice guys out there going through the sets so we can learn the concept, right? Big pick, we're going to fight over. What we also taught, if you're guarding that nail, you want to stun at the ball. Again, bigs are not used to handling the ball in pick and rolls. And then we'll kill it from there. Okay, we're not taxing the body too much. We're really just doing it to make sure that they get the dance steps of, hey, this is what it's going to look like tomorrow night. The other part that I forgot to mention, a big part of why we do the vitamins, the teaching vitamins specifically, is so that we can eliminate as many questions as possible before we get into the live segments of practice, okay? We want to have as much live stuff. We don't want to have any dead time once we get into the concepts and practice. So if there's a baseline of kind of an understanding of this is our coverage when there's a big pick and roll. When we roll it out in practice and our guys team is going against the Mystics and they're being the Connecticut Sun and they're setting big pick and rolls, it's not completely brand new. There's already a baseline of understanding. So a big reason why that's been so successful is because we are laying it out, the first concept in the vitamin, and then we're touching on it once again in the live segment of practice, if that makes sense. One more clip. I will say too, it's extremely valuable if you have a scout team who can do the actions and execute the plays that you want. It's super, super helpful, right? Okay, so now we've gone through the big pick and rolls for about 10, 15 minutes pre-practice. Here's what it's going to look like tomorrow night. We're flying up to Connecticut, and these clips are a little choppy, so I will apologize. Big pick, hands on the ball, we force a turnover. One more time, almost the same clip. Big pick, Aaliyah Edwards not at the levels. She almost gets split. She does get split. Regardless, we force a turnover, we fly around. Last one right here, transition. You can see Aaliyah was a little caught off by that one. She might have forgot the vitamins from the day before. Still, we're flying around. Our health is in position. We're scrambling, and we force a turnover.
And Andrew, quick question.
Yep,
Who's on the scout team for you guys?
We have some phenomenal guys who actually are on our scout team. So we're lucky enough, which is part of my job, is actually to go out and recruit some guys. But we have a group of local guys who either recently graduated college, finished their playing careers, or our local coaches that want to get in the gym with us and put in the work every day. They're a phenomenal group of young coaches, young men. They do a great job of studying the game and understanding what us coaches need from them. And then they go out there and execute it. It is truly a skill to be able to go out there and not have an ego and want to just make the team get better. And that's what our guys have done for the last few years. And I can't speak to how much they've helped us over these last couple of years as far as getting our players ready to play. Just a phenomenal group of young men. So I'm super, super grateful for them.
Awesome. And asks, to what degree do you involve players presenting in scouts and review? Do they get involved in that? And then with that, how do you ensure accountability?
As far as our players presenting in scouts?
Do they get involved in some type of presentations or stuff like that? I think it was more of a curious question.
Yeah, I'd say more so this year, especially. We had a phenomenal vet, Stephanie Dolson, who she's been around the league she just finished her 10th season. And some other vets who are not afraid to let their voice be heard in the film sessions, whether it's a play call that they know from back in the day from another team, or a player's tendency, or even we give a lot of kind of freedom to the players to voice their opinions when we're going through stuff in the court. If we want to read a pick and roll, if we want to scrap a mid pick and roll and say it's a really good rolling big like Asia Wilson, our bigs may say, hey, coach, I understand we want to trap Kelsey Plum in the middle of the floor, but now I've got to deal with Asia Wilson rolling hard to the rim, almost untouched. And so we welcome that feedback. I'm not going to sit here and say we sign off on every idea that we get, but we definitely welcome every single idea that comes their way, because the reality is the players are the ones out there executing. They're the ones out there sweating. They're going out there and executing and playing the game. And so we do welcome everyone to have a voice and encourage it, really. Yeah.
Awesome. And we'll get to some of the other questions as you keep going. So
cool. Another thing that we really struggled with this year was playing against switching. You can see in these clips right here, early on in the season, we would pick our dribble up, get bogged down by the switch. We would really try to force these passes to the big on the guard. Right? You can see we're just hunting it, and we just force a tough.